Hello, Maria. It's another 2 weeks past, and I see you here, and you see how fast the time
Crazy.
flies. It's
Yeah, it does.
insane, insane. And I want to say also that we survived the blackout in Spain. 60 million people were out of 60 million people. Imagine,
That's crazy. Yeah. No.
crazy,
Yeah.
instantly like that.
Yeah.
The civilization was gone.
Uh, it, I wouldn't go that far. I thought it was quite nice actually to have a little break from, I couldn't get on my laptop. I couldn't get on my phone. I was like, oh, okay, so I'm going to go out for a walk and
Yes,
enjoy the nice weather. And,
it was
you
time
know,
to connect. That's true. That's
I'm,
true.
I'm, I think now we should have like one day a month where we disconnect from laptops and computers and phones just to be able to enjoy the day and not without feeling guilty. Because I think that's the thing. It's like, it's easy, to say, put away your phone, but you always feel guilty that you should be doing something or working. But there we didn't have a choice. So it felt like very liberating, I felt.
We are super connected. That
Yeah.
that's also not a good thing to be so
Yeah,
so connected. I
exactly.
mean,
So
we are connected. At least me, I'm connected almost the whole day. I
I
mean,
think
it's
everybody, it's I mean, there was a silver lining to it, and it wasn't that terrible. I mean, it was only
mm,
a few hours in the end. So
yes. So, but we are back on track. So
okay,
another 2 weeks passed, and I chose this topic today about the availability, the availability things.
okay.
I used to have a T-shirt in the past that used to say on it "always available," which was they
Oh,
were playing with the words because those guys they were selling data recovery and backup, which was always available, but they put it on a T-shirt, and I always disliked this message, that I
yeah,
am always available.
yeah. Why?
Yes, there are many reasons. First, let me start with the first reason why I perceive the always available to be a wrong thing.
Okay.
Because the number one reason is you disrespect yourself.
Yeah,
That's the number one reason. And if you don't respect yourself, how you expect other people to respect you if not even you respect yourself?
yeah. It's about boundaries, about setting boundaries for yourself and for others. And I see a lot of my clients that struggle with the concept where they expect other people to set the boundaries for them. So yes, agreed.
For themselves, to the boundaries to themselves.
Yeah, you need to
Yes,
you need to be the one setting the boundaries for yourself and others.
of course, but there is also the tendency, um, at least I see it with my mother and this German culture, that of seeing this altruism that people that I am always for the others there. I'm ready to sacrifice myself for the others.
I think it's a generational thing also, Alex, because I see the same with my mom, and I think there's a generational thing that our parents grew up with that kind of education where women were supposed to be at the service of everybody else, the family, and I think that comes from that a lot.
Yes, maybe it's also generational. You think it's also sex related?
Yeah, I think women feel much more. I think women struggle much more putting boundaries than men
Okay.
because they feel like their role is, and it's often the case. Often the case, women are the primary carer of the home, whether it's the children, the husband, the parents, and
Yes.
so it makes it harder to create boundaries for yourself when you're having to take care of everybody else, and you tend to go last.
Yes. I agree with you. I never actually deep dived on the topic, but it makes sense
Yeah,
because but I also see a lot of, let's say, mothers and women who have a responsibility to feel that burden that I need to serve everybody.
yeah.
But I mean, I feel that it's we shouldn't have a we shouldn't feel guilty
No,
to
no,
prioritize
no. Ourselves.
ourselves.
Now, and especially if you're a business owner, I think it's important to. It's actually a matter of survival to do that, because if you don't, you can very quickly burn out. I mean, probably the same in your career as well. It's if you're spending all your time working really hard for your company or your colleagues or boss, you're not putting limits, you burn out too. So absolutely.
Absolutely, you need to put the limits, and I think you should also to say no's easier.
Yeah.
Easier, and not feel so emotionally tensed to say no. It doesn't make you a bad person to say no. It's just a no. I mean, you have the right to say no. You have the right to do things.
Yes, choosing priorities.
And the right not to do things.
Yeah.
But besides that, it brings also the second aspect, that is the aspect of scarcity, because the more scarce is something, the more value it has.
It's perceived. More value is perceived.
More, you are correct. More value is perceived because of the bottom line. I mean, but it's like you have gold. It's very expensive, right? Silver is less expensive than gold, and iron is even less expensive because there is so much of it. Now, all of them, they are metals, so they are nothing special. It's a metal, but what gives value is the scarcity of it.
Yeah.
So, and if you sell a product or you sell yourself as a product, like we do, if you are always there to say a yes, always available to have the meeting, always chasing clients, then you devalue yourself. And through my experience, I don't think you lose any business, because things in life happen because the other party wants, and you need to understand that. It's not, if you push him, nothing good is going to come out of that.
Yeah.
Even and that applies to personal, I mean, to romantic relationship between people. You cannot force that. But it's the same with business, because you force a business, it's a bad business. It's a bad business because it's going to become a toxic business.
And if someone wants to work with you, they'll wait. I mean, I wouldn't expect, if I want to work with somebody, that they would be available the next day. It's nice if it's something that works, but if I call somebody to work with them and they're straight away, yeah, I can see you in an hour or something, I'll be like, okay, that sounds weird. You're not busy. You start wondering, like, why they're not busy? Do they not have clients? Are they not good? And I think it's we have a sort of a thing in our brain that starts telling us, as you said, like the limited availability gives a perceived value to whatever we're trying to get.
It shows a lot about the other person. And if you are in a hiring position, like I am in a hiring position when I hire, so hiring is guessing. So the tendency is that the other person that you have opposite of you, he says to everything, yes. Can you do this? Yes, I can do that. Do you know that? Yes, I can know. So there is no bounce back to us, that he asks some questions, that he's evaluating also you, if you are good to be his client. Because if that's not the case, you have some desperate guy there that is going to say everything to just take the job.
Yeah, and if you're only available at certain times, it signals that your time and expertise is valuable because it's limited and you're only sharing it with a certain number of people.
The other question that I have, and I want to ask you, is, don't you think that some people overdo on not being available?
Yeah, I think no. So I think there's a few things, and I see this a lot on social media where people are like only 3 spots available every week, and then they're like, sign up now or you're going to lose it. And the other thing, when you're trying to sign out of an app or something, and they're like, oh, if you leave now, you're going to lose access. And then you go and you say, yes, I want to leave. And then they were like, we'll give you 20% to stay.
Yeah.
And then you say, no, I still want to leave. And then you get 50%. And you're like, and that annoys me, because I'm like, so if I'd stayed on, I would be just continuing. If I'm a loyal customer, I continue to pay normally. But if I try to leave, you're going to give me price off. So I feel like, I feel like I've been had. It doesn't feel right, and it feels gimmicky. And then also these people who make up like you only have 24 hours, and then its price is going to go up, but they've inflated and deflated the price. I don't.
But that is very much also American. I see that this ticking clock. You click there and say, oh, you have only 30 now. Come on, man. If I click tomorrow,
it creates urgency. I get it, and I think it's good. You have to do it. It's a sales technique. If you're launching a product and all, you should do it. But it has to be done with integrity, meaning like you're really launching a product and you are really doing a thing. It's not like every week you have the same thing that comes up and says, you can only get it for this price for a week. And then the week after you see it again and you're like, that's not true. So yes. I think I'm not saying you shouldn't be using those techniques. I think you should. Definitely, they're proven techniques that attract people and encourage them to take action and buy. I think you just have to do it with integrity. And do it, do it when it's really, really true, right? When you are, I mean, personally, I only take a certain number of one-on-one clients at a time. And the reason I do that is because I want to be able to give them a good service, right? So yes. If I have too many clients, I can't serve them properly. So I have a limited number of clients I take, and I only take on a new one when I stop working with one. So I will say I only have one spot left. And usually it's because I've just finished with one client and another one is coming on. But it's true. It's not that I'm making up that I have spots. It's just that I happen to have that kind of availability because I've set boundaries for myself and my clients.
Yes. So, okay. What you are talking about, I'm very much aware of that. And I see a lot of marketing companies and all, but I cannot do it, Maria. I find it so cheap and so like the Tony Robbins. We have the last 3 spots to attend this webinar, and you go on the webinar, and I can tell the webinar it's a recorded webinar.
Yeah.
And it's the last 3 spots. If I book it tomorrow, it's going to be again the last 3 spots. If I book it in a month, it's going to be again the 3 last spots.
But it works because you booked. Like if they hadn't said it's the last 3 spots, you might be like, and they do that for, your flight bookings, your hotel bookings, like last rooms available. And you'd be like, oh, so I probably need to book it because otherwise I'm going to lose it. If you have too much time to think, you probably wouldn't take action. And it's proven sales technique that work, that you like them or not, they actually work.
Look, I see it also. I put also when I send an offer, I put the offer is valid for 2 weeks or a month. Now, what happens if the guy comes like 31 days later? I'm going to say, no, sorry, you missed that. It's not valid.
It's your call. It's you can make that call.
Yes. So the answer is yes and no, because I need to put also a deadline because I cannot have an opportunity open forever.
No.
So in some point, this opportunity closes. So if that opportunity closes and he comes after 2 months, then we will talk again from the beginning.
Yeah.
It cannot be the same. So I don't perceive that to be as a fake, as a tricky
I think that's fair.
way. And I agree with you. You should use these proven techniques, but with some sincerity and some honesty behind. So not just like the marketing.
Every day it's the last minute to buy something, and then.
But I see also that it's a lot of people have an overinflated ego on what regards their availability.
Okay.
And that is something, a break on their success. So they are too much expecting to be the ones that you should call them. You should make the first step. You should, and the reason why it's the overinflated ego and the lack of hard skin in doing business. And there are not few that are like that. There are too many. Because what happens is that they associate their personal self, their true self, with their professional self. So because if you are the one that is reaching out, you are also the one that's going to be rejected. And rejection is something very hard to swallow unless you have the hard skin to differentiate yourself as yourself and your professional self.
Yeah.
So your professional self is being rejected, and that's fine, because that's part of the work. So
Yeah.
So I am for scarcity. I am certainly not for always being available, but I also want to point out these things because I've noticed that in many people that they have this, no, you call me, no, you do that, no,
Yeah.
no, and then it turns against, no, I will not call you. You're gonna call me.
Yeah. No, I think as you said, and it's not you personally who's rejected, it's your offer. So it's they don't need you. It's not that they don't like you. I mean, they might not like you. I mean, that likability is one of the reasons why we want to work with somebody or not. But most of the time, it's either they don't need your service, it's not a good time, they have personal reasons, they don't have the money. There's loads of reasons that have nothing to do with you, or even that you don't have any control over. So most of the time in those rejections, but it's but we tend to take everything personally because that's the way our brain is wired. It's like, oh, what did I say? What did I do wrong? Why doesn't he like me? Why didn't he sign up? Is it should I done something different? And then we can always improve in the way we're doing things, but I think there's also a lot that's out of our control in these situations.
And you said before you want to work with people that you like, but you like in what context? Because I might hire a salesperson that I not personally like.
No, but
not in the sense that I dislike him, but he never can be my friend. But I can sense he's a good salesperson.
No, so I'm saying you like, I mean, like someone you don't dislike, somebody who you're like, oh, I don't trust this person, they look sketchy, or sometimes you don't get a good vibe from somebody. So I'm saying someone you like. I mean, obviously, everybody you work with can't be your best friend, and it's probably better that way. But when I mean like, I mean somebody you're not like, ooh, I don't feel something feels wrong, or I don't like how he talks to me. I mean, if there's immediately something that doesn't sit right and it's just the first phone call, it's not going to get better. So usually it's good to listen to your gut in these kinds of situations, I'd say.
Listening to your gut feeling is the absolute super advice that I can give to somebody. I remember back in the day when I used to visit businesses where the lady in the cash machine, she was nice. The salesperson was a nice guy. Then almost always the boss, the owner of the company, was a nice guy as well. So when those people were not nice, the boss, because everybody was hiring under his own worldview.
Or he was putting a lot of pressure on them. He was creating a toxic atmosphere for nice people that then were not happy in their job. There's so many reasons that can happen.
And I also feel there is a lack of understanding in that when hiring salespeople, because I had like a week ago for the new project, I had some interviews, and there were some people that were, if somebody sees them, he's going to say, oh, they are very nice guys, very good salespeople. And I decided, no, you are not the right person. Why? Because I felt this specific lady that I had an interview, so she was very good, very educated, very sophisticated, very nice. I said, no, you are not the right person because you are overqualified for this job, and you will not be happy. I can tell you're not going to be happy when you start doing this job, because the job is a job that does not reflect your qualities. So maybe somebody would say, wow, it's fantastic to have her as a salesperson. No, it's not fantastic.
No.
Because her quality is going to work against her for the specific project that I had in mind. For another one, she would be a perfect match.
Yeah, you can always work with her again.
Yeah,
and so limited availability, is it good or is it not good? What are we saying here?
I would say being always available, it's certainly bad.
Yeah.
That is certainly a bad thing to do from any point of view. Most importantly for yourself, because you disrespect yourself. Now, to be extremely super unavailable,
is not good either. You don't get business if you need to be a little bit available to get some clients, right?
You need to be somehow available, right?
Yeah.
Now, the degree of the availability, I think it depends on a variety of different factors. It depends on the industry you are in, with which people you are working, what you want to achieve. You need to follow your gut feeling. But I would say, as an advice, learn to say no's. Don't be always available, but also put your ego by side, and don't get offended too easily. Be open to listen to people, to genuinely listen to people, and set up some boundaries and some way of communication within your company and outside of your company. As we said before, like, okay, I have one spot left. That's the one spot.
Yeah.
So if it's even, if there is no other spot, you have to wait.
Yeah. It's about integrity, because it's about respecting the other people. You build trust. You build trust and a reputation around this, and you want to have that kind of reputation of being somebody with integrity. And if you do too much of those gimmicky things all the time, it's like the boy who shouted wolf. Nobody will believe you.
Yes.
When it's true. So it's about balancing your availability between your needs as a business owner and protecting your time, and being acting with integrity.
You will feel better when you start saying no, and when you start being less available. So that's the advice for people that are always available. And also, you don't have to be a manager to be less available. You can be, as an employee, also less available, and set boundaries in your work, because otherwise they're gonna they're gonna abuse you. No?
Yeah, I think one thing that helped me, because you feel guilty saying no to people when they come and ask you for help. And I was the kind of person who always said yes, and I still tend to do that, to be honest. But I think what helped me, the framing, the reframe that helped, was, if I'm going to say yes to this person for something, that means I'm going to say no to something else that might be more important to me. So it's understanding that, like, okay, if I say yes to this person, what am I saying no to? And which is my priority? And that helps when you think that way. It's not about, oh, I might upset this person. It's about prioritizing what you need to be doing versus what other people want you to be doing.
Yes, and be less responsive, be less compulsive. Thing. And many times I feel under pressure. There are people and they put me under pressure, and this pressure and this anxiety is a poison. Everything that is a result of an anxious decision that you make, it's a wrong decision.
Yeah, if you're responding through fear rather than
you
practice.
Respond to fear, you respond because they put you in the corner, because they take advantage of your civic courtesy, for example, and you, for reasons of politeness, for reasons of being nice, you agree to do things that you don't really want to do.
Yeah.
So the answer is saying no.
Yeah, and it serves nobody in the end.
I don't want to do it. I don't feel like that.
And there's different ways of saying no. It doesn't have to be no. It can be, I can't do it this way, or I can't do it at this moment. This is when I can do it, or this is what I could do instead, or I can recommend somebody, or I can suggest this instead. It's not, I think people get very stuck on the fact, I can't say no. It's like, well, there's different ways of saying no. It doesn't have to be a no. It can be a different way of setting expectations also.
Well, there are different ways of saying no. I'm with you. From the other side, the different ways tend to say no, or it's an apologetic way to say no, and that shouldn't be the case. So you should be.
I think so.
You should be in the position to say no, because it's something that you say without a psychological burden on top of that.
Yeah.
So no, I don't want. No, nobody says that. Say a relaxed no. No, it's
No, but you
I
can
will not
say
do it.
no and you can still want to be helpful, right? So somebody comes to you and says, hey, can you help me with this? And you know you don't have the time or you have something else. Say, actually, right now I can't, but I could help you next week, or I know somebody who can, or I'm saying, you know, if you want to be helpful, which I know I like to be helpful to people when they come to ask me for help. I don't like saying just no, sorry, I don't have time. I even if I want to, you know, if I know I need to say that, I like to find a way of saying, okay, I can't help them, but what could I do? Maybe I can, you know, do something to help them, or direct them to somebody else, or give them a suggestion of somebody they can go to, or another way they can do it. So I'm just saying, because some people feel really uncomfortable saying no, and you can tell them they should say no, but they'll never do it. So I'm just saying there's other ways of doing that. And it's not apologetic. It can be a very firm, I can't do this, I can't help you, I'm slammed, or I can't take another client because I'm full and I owe it to my clients to give them the right service. And if I take you on, I wouldn't be doing that, but I can recommend you to somebody else. Or, you know, so it's about being helpful also, and supportive.
Very interesting, Maria. We will never finish talking about that, but I think it was a very interesting topic of today.
Happy you enjoyed it.
I enjoyed a lot. No, you gave a lot of insights, a lot of things that I had never thought, but about the women perspective, that many women are in the more difficult position, and I do understand that.
Yeah.
So yes, I think we touched some points.
Yeah, I think we did.
For the other person to the conclusions are for the viewers.
Or for mine? The conclusions are mine now?
No, the conclusions of this discussion are for the viewers to make.
Oh, the viewers. Okay. Yeah, they can take what they want.
Exactly.
Okay.
Well, okay, so we talk in 2 weeks again.
Yeah, speak to you